Okay, in the video a little bit above this, we talked about the first steps of how to teach the dog to watch, which is just to condition the dog to sit and look up at us and give us extended eye contact. And we're going to do that under varying degrees of intensity. We're going to, or distraction. We're going to first do it in a quiet room, then we're going to start doing it with the TV on, and then two people conversing, and gradually make it more and more challenging. The next step is we're going to look for a place where we can go to like a park where dogs are at, not a dog park, however. So what I'm looking for is a place where it's kind of an unusual setup. So let's say that this represents where I can see. But there's from here on there's trees, and from here on there's trees or shrubs. So I can only see this triangle right in front of me. So let's say there's a path at the end of that triangle. We have to find the distance, number one. So maybe he has to be 50 yards away before he's not reacting and barking to the other dogs. The test that I use is, can I get my dog to sit and take a treat while he stays sitting, while he sees another dog? If you can't do that, keep walking away until you find the distance where he can sit, see the other dog, and take a treat and stay sitting. That's your magic distance. That's where you're going to start. So what you do then is you go like at 5:30 or whatever time of day there's going to be a lot of people walking on that path in front of you a ways away with the dog. So what you're doing is, let's say the path of traffic is going this way. I'm watching over here kind of through the trees, and I can see there's a dog coming, but my dog hasn't seen it. So I have Luke sitting right here. Now they're coming, and right here is where my visual acuity starts. So when the dog's here, when it gets about right here, I'm going to turn and look at the dog because I know he's about to see this dog. I'm going to have a treat in my hand ready. As soon as he sees that dog, you're going to see like probably this. Probably lowering the head and taking a big breath, he's going to start barking at that dog, or at least getting ready to. So as soon as you see him lower his head, you say, watch. And then he turns and sits down and looks up at you, and then you do the same thing that we just did in the video above. And you keep on doing that until at the same distance, you keep repeating this. And this might be the course if you have to do this several days in a row. But after a while, you'll get to a point where he sees the dog, and instead of barking at the dog or preparing to bark, he's going to sit down and look at you. So the first step, I left one crucial part out. When the dog is about to come into vision, I look at the dog, and as soon as he starts taking the breath, I wait about a half a second before I say watch. Maybe the first couple times I say watch right away, but eventually I want to add in a little bit of a buffer or a break. And then I say the word watch, but we want to do it before he reacts. Again, the distance should help him so he's not reacting by barking, but he's going to be aware of it. What's going to eventually happen is once you practice enough where he's starting to look up at you every time you say watch, then we wait longer. As soon as the dog comes to view, we wait maybe a second, maybe 2 seconds, then we say watch. But eventually what will happen is he sees the other dog, and he's going to remember if I look up at the human, I get a treat. And when he sees the dog, he's going to look up at you. And then you're going to do the watch. Now that time, don't delay. Make sure just as soon as he looks up at you, go watch and give him a treat. But the idea is every time he sees a dog, we wait 1 second, and then we say watch, and then he looks up to us. So after a while, he connects those two things, and when he sees a dog, he doesn't even have to hear the word watch. He just looks up at you. Karen calls this an auto watch in her book. The first time he does this, it should be make your day. So then what you do is you take 10 treats in a row. So he sits down, he gives you an auto watch, 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 watch. I want him thinking like, what did I just do? Because I won the mother load. We want him to be like, I got to remember what I just did and do that more often, because that's exactly what we want. So eventually what's going to happen is when he sees the dog, at first it'll be just one dog he'll auto watch, and the next one you might have to say watch again. So it'll take a little bit of practice. But eventually every time he sees a dog, he's going to sit and turn up and look at you. Now once you get to the point where he's doing that, then we're going to start collapsing the distance. So once he's auto watches consistently, then you go to the same spot, and then you take maybe 2 steps forward, put him in a sit, wait for dogs to come by, and keep repeating that process. You're going to do that until eventually the path is right here, and every time he sees a dog, he sits down and looks up at you. This way, when you're out on a walk or in your yard or whatever, and you're nearby and he sees another dog, instead of reacting to the dog, we have trained him now to sit and turn and look up at the human and get a reward. And after a while, if this happens consistently enough, then the dog starts to associate, when other dogs come around, I get the best treats I've ever had. Can we get a doggy parade coming down the street? So that will create a positive association of seeing other dogs as opposed to a protective reaction, which is what you're getting now, or possessive potentially. So that is the conclusion of, One last thing, Karen offers a lot more details in her book, so I would recommend if you're watching this at home and you have a leash reactive dog, that you pick up her book, Feisty Fido, because it is an easy read and extraordinarily effective.